Hello, my lovely islanders. It's Sydney Island here. That's Island with a Y, not an S. And as you can tell by the title, today we're going to talk about Mars and Pisces. Mars and Pisces. I miss singing in my astrology videos. So I'm going to start singing, like I used to in my astrology videos again. Okay, so in the corner, there's going to be an eye that says Planet Mars in Astrology Explained. Hit that if you want to get a deeper explanation about Planet Mars. And also, I do private birth chart readings, so email me at s.island55@yahoo.com. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into Mars and Pisces. Starting off with, what does the planet Mars represent? Okay, so the planet Mars is all about your sex drive, right? It's your energy, it's your vitality, it's how you get motivated. It's pretty much like, are you the type of person to just go for it? Like, are you a go-getter, or does it take you a minute to get going? That's Mars, right? Mars is your energy. Mars is the planet of action. It's how you take action to get what you desire, right? So if you have a Mars in Pisces, you are a very magical individual. Very, very magical. Okay. There is like this heavenly, ethereal kind of vibe about you. Like, you could be the most masculine man, right? But if you have a Mars in Pisces, you'll have this very gentle, like sweet, harmless vibe about you. Like, you could literally look intimidating and masculine and dominant, right? But then that Mars in Pisces, it kind of makes people like want to be around you, and they feel safe around you. Mars and Pisces people can also kind of, their image can be kind of deceiving at times, because Pisces is the sign, the symbol of deception and illusion, right? So you could come off as like the sweetest person, but have, other hidden motives. But you see people with the Mars and Pisces, they have very, very, very sensitive souls. Sensitive. And these people are the sensitive artist type, they're very sensitive to sound, they make great musicians, great singers, great actors. I'm thinking about my favorite actor. I mentioned him before, Michael Fassbender is an Aries sun with the Mars and Pisces. Y'all, I have such a crush on this man. It's not even funny. Oh, he's so fine. But anyways, he's a married man now. I can't do it. But Google Michael Fassbender, okay? He has a Mars in Pisces, and like, y'all, I've been studying this man, okay? Like, it's gonna be weird. I don't care. But like, he does, in my opinion, like watching his interviews, he does have that kind of like he's very like soft spoken and has that kind of gentle, like that gentleman vibe, that very inviting, warm, like kind of innocent gentleman vibe. And then being an Aries, he has that childlike energy also. And so that's just a little something I picked up on. Okay, so Mars and Pisces. I got my notes here. I'm making mad notes for these videos, y'all. Like, I put in the work for these videos. Okay, like, I don't just be like throwing out videos. Like, I actually do the research and I take the notes. Okay, so y'all can get some legit information. Okay, so Mars and Pisces, you find confidence and physical vitality when you act based on your dreams and your intuitions. This is the type of person who believes in like having spiritual signs and stuff like that. Like, oh, that was a sign that's gonna happen. Like, these are the type of people that believe in like angel numbers and synchronicities and things like that. They're very, very intuitive. And they can, feel when their life is about to change. They can feel when something is about to pop off. You know what I'm saying? And when they walk into a room, they can feel like the emotions and the energy and the vibe in the room, right? These people can be very psychic, and they're huge empaths, huge empaths with very, very, very sensitive hearts. Okay, these people can get their feelings hurt like that, like that. I didn't do the snap, so like like that. Okay. So yeah, a lot of times you act based on your dreams, signs, emotions, and like your spiritual desires, right? And there's a huge like spiritual aura around you. You're very spiritual. Whether you realize it or not. If you're not in tune with your spiritual side, this may create problems. because Pisces is just very spiritual. It's a very spiritual sign, and you would do best getting in tune with your spiritual nature. Meditating. You definitely should meditate. It should be great for you. Okay, so with having a Mars in Pisces, you prefer to kind of be in the background. When it comes to taking action, you're not the one to do it first. Like say a Mars in Aries, for example. I have a Mars in Aries, and when I want to do something, I'm like, okay, let's do it, to a point where I'm kind of impulsive. And sometimes I may act too quickly. A Mars in Pisces, no. Like, they prefer to kind of just like, kind of feel things out with their intuition before they jump into something, right? For them, it's like their opposite Mars in Virgo. Their opposite Mars in Virgo would rather plan things before they act, but a Mars in Pisces would rather like feel things out with their intuition and then act. They're similar in that sense of like they're not going to leap first, but they do it in different ways, like in opposite ways. Mars and Pisces people are very self-protective because they are aware of how sensitive they are. They can be very defensive and protective of themselves, so they can be kind of reserved, and they may want to sit along the sidelines and not really like dive into things because these people can be kind of timid. They can be kind of shy, and kind of afraid to be in the midst of like the chaos and everything. They're aware of how quickly they can pick up on the vibes in the room, and it can affect them, in a negative way. These people get drained very quickly from being in like large crowds and stuff because they can feel all the energy, like they're just absorbing it all. The depression of Bob standing next to them, and then the anxiety of Sally right there, like they feel it all, and it can be very overwhelming to them. It's like they have this beautiful superpower that they sometimes don't really know how to use. And once you get in tune with this and you know how to use it, you can be super powerful and you could be a magician, okay? I put that you find it hard to get angry at people because you have a lot of compassion. Your relationship with anger is not the best because you find it difficult to get angry with people because you understand why people do what they do, because you're very understanding, you're very compassionate. But then also, God, my glasses crooked? Like I keep looking at the thing like my glasses crooked. Whatever, I need new glasses anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, your relationship with anger is not the best. You can be like, you kind of shun yourself for being angry. Let's put it that way. You can kind of make yourself feel guilty for being angry. You never really fully allow yourself to be angry because planet Mars is your anger. It's how you express your anger. It's how you feel about your anger, right? And you suppress your anger, and you make yourself feel guilty when you do express anger because you have that sweet, innocent, mindset sometimes where it's like, anger, it's a harsh emotion, I shouldn't express that. That'll hurt somebody's feelings. You have this gift, and it can be a curse also, where you give people the benefit of the doubt. Okay, you see the good in people, whether like you can see the good in somebody that literally looks crazy and everybody thinks bad of them, but you see the good in them because you have a pure heart. You have a pure heart. Like Mars and Pisces people can literally be like angels, okay? I'm not saying that y'all are innocent. Like I said, y'all can be deceptive. Y'all can also be manipulative. There's a dark side to each placement. But y'all really like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You prefer not to judge people before you get to know them. You have a very understanding heart, and you understand that everybody has a story. With this placement, you have a tendency to play the victim sometimes. It could be really hard for you to own up to the wrong that you do because you just don't want to be the bad guy. You just don't. You can't accept that role. It's really hard for you to play the role of the bad guy unless you're acting, which is something that you'll be really good at, Mars and Pisces. Michael Fassbender's an actor. Great actor, by the way. You're really good at channeling, energy of other beings, of other people. Even, who knows, extraterrestrials because you're the mystic, okay? Like, Pisces is the mystic, right? You're really good at channeling other energies. So this can make you a really great actor, right? But, so you're really good at playing the role of the bad guy in a movie or in a film or acting in art. You're really good at that. You're really good at expression, the dramatic expression, theatrical expression. But when it comes to real life, you may not want to play the bad guy because you don't want that on your name, because you don't want to be bad. You want to be an angel, okay? with this placement, you can be kind of gullible, and people have a tendency to take advantage of you because, like I said, you always want to believe in the good of people, and people can take advantage of that. So you may attract. God, the lighting is like blazing bright right now. Like if the lighting is bad, like I'm sorry. Like at least y'all can see my face. Okay, this is good lighting for black people. Okay, all right. So yeah, like I said, you're easy to deceive. Just like you're good at deceiving other people, you're also good at having people deceive you. Okay, this is the sign of deception. Okay, you can fool people. You're really good at fooling people, you know. And this also goes for Pisces rising as well, because your rising sign is your image. It's how people see you, right? And so having a Pisces rising or a Pisces Mars, people can see you one way, but behind closed doors, you're a completely other way. And that also goes for sex. Also, let's talk about sex. Mars and Pisces people, like I said, you can come off as like a super dominant person, but in the bedroom, you're probably like more gentle, you know? You probably the type to prefer your partner to take control, you know? Like you go with the flow in the bedroom. You may not be the one that's like taking the initiative. And when it comes to sex and intimacy, you're very affectionate and you're intuitive. You can kind of sense what your partner prefers in the bedroom. And you can be a little bit of a people pleaser in the bedroom as well. I'm like trying to go in order, but it's like I have all these thoughts popping in my mind while I'm looking at my notes. But I put artistic self expression. You're talented in music and the visual arts, okay? So self expression is really good for you. Like I said, being an actor or a musician or anything like that, or a dancer or whatever. You're a very soulful person, okay? So when it comes to art, you put your soul into art. You put your soul into the art that you of your choosing, whether it be dance or acting or whatever. You are a very soulful individual. It's for you, it's really hard not to do things with your soul, and that's why you're so vulnerable, you know, because your soul is out there. You're in tune with your soul all the time, and when you do things, you're doing things out of your soul, you know. And a lot of people aren't like that, you know. A lot of people, they kind of keep their soul on lock, you know, to protect themselves or whatever, or because some people just don't have that connection with their soul like you. So this can make you feel lonely, you know. Mars and Pisces people are definitely prone to loneliness and depression, and they also can be escape artists. You're prone to like drug addiction and alcohol addiction. I'm sorry to say it, but yeah, you're prone to sex addiction. You know, you may adopt addictive behaviors to escape this reality because Pisces is a sign of the mystical realm. So you have issues being a part of this reality. You know, this reality, it's like it's hard for you to face it because it's too harsh for your sensitive soul. These people can be healers, very gifted healers, you know. You could be like a really good Reiki energy healer or massage therapist or meditation teacher or whatever you want to call it. You can be really good at that, and you may be drawn to that already. You may be drawn to the occult and magic and astrology and tarot cards and the crystal ball and all that type of stuff. That's your vibe. You have to work hard to avoid adopting other people's negative energy and adopting other people's trauma. You know, it's tricky. It's really tricky. And I actually have this having a Pisces in my 7th and 8th house, which is Libra and Scorpio's house. I have this issue too, where I'm around someone who's suffering with some type of trauma, and I start to believe that I have it, and it's the worst. Oh God, it's the worst fucking thing. Yo, I've struggled with this, and I'm still struggling with this. So I get you. I feel you. Like I have double Pisces energy, so I get you. And so what you have to do, you have to meditate. Like for me, meditation, prayer works for me. Of course, everybody's not Christian, everybody doesn't read the Bible, and that's completely fine. Completely fine. You believe in what you believe in. But for me, the thing that helps to not adopt other people's negative energy is meditation, you know, and just surrendering, you know, and meditation helps you to clear your mind and helps you to realize like who you are and who they are, you know, like it gives you a good separation and it gives you clarity and you can kind of realize, okay, so that's my energy. This is what is going on with me. You know, meditation is beautiful and it helps you to get centered, which is something that Mars and Pisces need because you're not the most grounded sign. You're really not. I'm sorry. Like, you can be way in the clouds, like super imaginative. Like, you have a great imagination, beautiful, vivid imagination. You're the type to always be thinking about musical performances and bright colors, and you're very imaginative. But this can also make you not the most grounded, and I suffer with this. when it comes to confrontation, you rather escape rather than to confront. Okay, so when it comes to arguing and bickering, you're the type to either play the victim, so that you don't have to face the situation, or you just run away. You leave, you walk away, you just leave, or you do drugs to escape the situation. These people also love to fight for those who don't have their own voice. You know, these people love to fight for the underdog. They love to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. They have a weak spot for weaker people. Your impulse to act depends on the vibes in the room, and it depends on your mood. Also, let's go back to sex real quick. You prefer to have like that romantic, dreamy love mixed with sex. Although you can be sexually driven, like you can have sex without love, like because this placement can be sex addicts. I have to be honest. You can have sex without love, but your ideal like sexual moment is mixed with like deep true love and passion and just romance and the mushy gushy stuff, you know. And with this placement, because of that imagination you got, you fantasize about sex a lot. You have you probably have some way out there, you know, sexual fantasies, and you would love to act those fantasies out with your partner. You may get turned on by your partner telling you what they fantasize about. God, why does my words like this right now? You're into like gentle foreplay and the soft, you know, eye contact, and you're turned off by, you know, rough ways in the bedroom, and you're also turned off by like people who have like a big ego. You know, they're full of themselves, and you know they're narcissistic. You know, because you're the empath, right? And I'm not saying you can't be narcissistic. I'm not saying that you can. But you're just turned off by people who like brag about themselves and they're dominant and like it's all about me. You know, you're really turned off by that. With this placement, if you don't get to express your truest creative, you know, talent, you may suffer from indirect, you know, aggression and being passive aggressive. So be careful with that, Mars and Pisces. But other than that, this is a magical placement. You're madly creative and you can be a creative, intellectual genius, okay? I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I could honestly talk about the Pisces energy all day, but I gotta end this video sometime, okay? So like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you all. Bye-bye.